Come on. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking in for a daily Move Swiftly thought, giving you a perspective on teamwork that you will not get anywhere else. Let's get into some of this. Recording this December 21st, 2024. Absolutely incredible day out here in South Florida. Nice cool breeze out here in South Florida. I guess the regular Floridians would have the audacity of calling this cold, but I just love the cool breeze. Nice cool breeze with a nice little sunshine. Feels like an early fall day in the Northeast area. Recording this, we have college football playoffs on all day, and we also have some NFL football to get to as well. All right, so I'm sort of previewing what we're going to be discussing and dissecting on Monday when it comes to tackle and turnover teamwork, which, by the way, live stream show that I do every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But before we even get there, I want to see how the results play out with the ratings and the viewership and all that kind of stuff. We'll touch on that another time. Today, I got to get to some other news. I got to address this new ruling by the NCAA assholes. All right, and again, sorry, I'm not working on my swearing, but apparently there was, and I wasn't even aware that this was even a case, but apparently the quarterback, I believe it's Diego Pavea from Vanderbilt, has been fighting fighting the NCAA to see if he can get an extra year of eligibility, having come from a JUCO, all right? And the ruling recently came in, still very fresh, still very new. But basically what the ruling says is that if you're a high school or whatever player, if you're a player that decides to go to junior college, whether it's right after high school, again, a lot of this stuff is still unknown, or if you started at a college and then go JUCO after that freshman year, whatever it is. But the bottom line is they're basically saying going to a JUCO no longer counts against your eligibility. All right, that's kind of just the way it's been put out there. Again, there's so much that goes into this, and is it just football? Are the academic side going to play a role in this? If you're giving this kid Diego Pavea another year now, what about all the other guys that have played JUCO and may want another year of eligibility? All sorts of unanswered questions that, again, these NCAA holes continuously create. And the thing is, what's crazy about it is I'm starting to not even blame them as much as the fact that football, again, it dominates so much of the headlines. Football dominates so much. It's basically the biggest revenue generator. And when you see football in the state it's in without having a feeder system, the NCAA, I'm starting to realize, gets blamed for a lot of the other holes that football just has in general. So let's get into why this list, and I remember having this argument yesterday with a fellow colleague of mine about why this rule is just such a bad thing to tell kids that going to a junior college is not going to count against your eligibility. That should not be allowed. I don't care what you do after that, but it should not be a situation in which playing football at a junior college does not count against your eligibility, because this is what has happened. That's just the way the letter of the law says. And the reason it's a problem is because now you have given ammo, you have given more of a reason for high school kids to F off their academics, to completely blow it off. Now, you're speaking to someone who has spent time as a college scout, spent time as a college player, spent time as a high school football coach, and I've seen players, again, great talented players, not a Big Ten or SEC type talent, but players that would have been good enough to play, have solid minutes at the FCS level had they been eligible, and they decide that they're going to go JUCO and then, again, be playing at the FCS level. I know the amount of JUCO kids that the FCS level takes. Now, now that you've created this problem, now that you've made it so junior colleges and playing at a junior college doesn't count against your eligibility, you've given leverage to the high school kid who just says, look, I don't really have to care about my academics. I could just go to JUCO. It won't count against my eligibility, and I'm just going to go and, get some scholarship somewhere and have my education paid, or have my school paid for, because I went to some JUCO and it doesn't count against my eligibility, and I can continue and grow. I can continue chasing this dream that only 1%, again, this is what we're talking about, right? We're talking about only 1% of the people who play this game going to be playing in the NFL. I can continuously waste my time chasing this dream that just is not going to happen. That is the issue. That is the issue, point blank, period. All right. And the sad part about it is you have adults, you have grown coaches. And what I saw is that one of the reasons that I couldn't take it with the high school coaching anymore, because you had coaches who would tell me stuff like, excuse me, who would say stuff like, oh, well, my guy's committed to a JUCO. You know, like that's some sort of achievement. That's some sort of accomplishment to go to a JUCO. That is not something that we should it is not something that we should necessarily be celebrating at all. Not to say that being at a JUCO is a bad thing, but it's only a certain type of kid who's focused, who wants to get it done academically and wants to use the game to make something of himself. But it's not a scapegoat to go F off your academics, and it's not something that's going to be able, it shouldn't be something that should make it so a high school coach gets his ego stroked because he has kids signed or committed to a JUCO, and now you can go around saying, oh yeah, I signed this one to do this and signed this one to do that, as if you have achieved something by having a kid go to a JUCO. That's not something that you should necessarily even be, you know, being praised for. Not to say it's a bad thing that you're sending a kid to college. I'm not going to go that far, but it shouldn't be something that necessarily is celebrated. That means that kid, again, academically didn't do what he needs to do. And more often than not, I'm just speaking in terms of what I've personally seen, because if you're athletically good enough to play at an SEC or a Big Ten school, these places will find resources for you. That's what they will do, because they have the resources to get it done. But if you are one of these, again, on the bubble players, like the majority of the players that are maybe D2, FCS, weaker FCS program type of a guy, and then you tell me, oh, well, I'm going to a JUCO, it's because academically you couldn't get it done, and these FCS programs and these D2 programs couldn't get you into school to go play for the 4-year. So you got to go JUCO. And now you're telling me you're going to reward them by not using their eligibility. Now their eligibility isn't going to be used at the JUCO level because one kid complained, or however it is. Again, there's a lot of missing pieces, and again, the NCAA hosts decided to put something out there without properly thinking this thing through, because now, okay, what about the other sports? What about basketball now? What about band? What about all the other sports that go JUCO? Now, is this rule going to apply for them too? I mean, it's an absolute mess. This is why today's title, the thumbnail, is, again, just more chaos in college football, which is the issue, all right? And it's in my opinion, it's a direct correlation of the fact that the NFL has yet to adopt and go to a feeder system, and they broadcast this NFL draft as if it's something that's going to be attainable for the majority of people, when it's not. I'm just keeping it 100 with you. It's not going to be something that's going to be relevant in the majority of people's lives. So I don't know why you continuously, year in and year out, put this draft out there like it's something that's going to be relevant for people, in the majority of people in this world. It is a problem, and it's going to only continue to create more problems, all right? Like I said, I'll have a whole lot more on this, seeing that this is a big day football-wise for me. A lot of things to tackle and dissect today. Main website to check out to dive deeper into all my work. It's makeyourmove.com. That's MakeYamove.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one, Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.